I never expected the knock on the door to end my life as I knew it. It was past midnight when it came, a hard, deliberate pounding that cut through the silence of our suburban Virginia rental. Stuart was already gone, checked into a hotel after the bomb dropped. My sister, Jane, had made sure of that. The knock wasn't from him, though. It was from karma. They say secrets die in silence, but mine was screamed into the void by a man I once thought I loved. And now I'm left staring at the pieces, the wreckage of 2 relationships, my marriage, and the only sister I have. I can't sleep. I can't eat. All I can do is try to rewind, revisit the moment everything began to unravel, and maybe, just maybe, figure out if any of it can be saved. But to understand how I got here, you have to know what happened back then. What really happened. 4 years ago, Stuart shipped out for his first deployment. We were newlyweds, the honeymoon barely over, and the weight of his absence sat on my chest every night like an anchor. I'd never known loneliness like that. I was isolated in a town where I knew no one. My job was remote. My friends had all scattered after college. And most of the time, my only companion was the wine bottle and the steady buzz of my phone. My sister Jane had recently had a baby and lived hours away. So when her husband Aaron offered to drive down to help repaint our crumbling patio, I didn't think twice. I should have. Aaron was always charming. The kind of guy who knew the power of his smile and used it like a weapon. I used to joke about having a schoolgirl crush on him, but it had never felt real until that weekend. I remember how the air felt that first night we hooked up. Warm, electric, suffocating. I knew I was making the worst mistake of my life, but I couldn't stop. It was like watching myself from the outside, screaming at my reflection, but still walking into the fire. We were reckless. Every visit from him came wrapped in a lie. To my sister, to Stuart, to myself. And the worst part? I started to crave it. That twisted attention, the adrenaline of secrecy, but the guilt? It never went away. It sat in my stomach like spoiled meat, gnawing from the inside. When Jane found out Aaron had given her chlamydia, it was like a gut punch. I had no idea he was sleeping with other women, too. I ended it that night. I looked at myself in the mirror, and for the first time, I saw a stranger. I promised. Never again. The years that followed were filled with repentance. I became the perfect wife. I poured every ounce of energy into my marriage, cooking elaborate meals, planning our weekends, initiating therapy when things felt distant. I even adopted a rescue dog to keep me company during Stuart's second deployment. Jane never knew. At least I thought she didn't. Our relationship mended from a distance. She never suspected I was part of her betrayal. When she filed for divorce, citing Aaron's repeated infidelities, I felt sick. Not out of guilt. I had made my peace with that, or so I thought, but because I feared the truth would crawl back into daylight. And it did. It slithered out of Aaron's mouth like venom, aimed at Jane's heart. I was chopping vegetables when Jane called. Her voice didn't sound like her own. "You fucked my husband?" I dropped the knife. My world tilted. "Jane, wait, Don't say a word." Then the line went dead. Within the hour, Stuart had packed a bag and left. I barely caught a glimpse of his face, just a haunted stare that cut deeper than any insult. Then the texts came. My mother, my brother, cousins I hadn't spoken to in years. They all knew. Jane had told them all. My father was the only one who didn't send hatred. He called me quietly, his voice trembling. "You need to come home," he said. "Not for them, for you." But going home wasn't that easy. Not when the ghosts were still so loud. The house felt colder after Stuart left. The shadows seemed longer. I found myself replaying everything I ever did to try and make it right, trying to justify my existence in a space that no longer wanted me. I reread Jane's last text. "You're dead to me." What haunted me the most wasn't her rage, but her silence. My sister was always the firecracker, the fierce protector, the first to show up when things went wrong. Now she wouldn't even say my name. I tried calling her, once, twice. By the third attempt, her number was blocked. The knock came again that night, soft but persistent. I expected Erin. Instead, it was Jane. She stood on my doorstep, drenched in rain, arms crossed over her chest like armor. I didn't move. Part of me thought she came to scream, to destroy what was left of me. "We need to talk," she said. I stepped aside in silence, unsure what version of her I was letting in. She didn't sit, just paced the living room like a lion in a too small cage. "You broke something in me," she started, her voice raw. "But I didn't come to punish you. I came because I need to understand why." The words caught in my throat. No one had asked that, not Stuart, not my parents, not even myself. I was lonely, weak, and selfish, I admitted. She stopped pacing. "You think I haven't felt that? You think I haven't made choices I regret because I wanted to feel seen?" I stared at her. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying I'm not proud of everything I've done either," she said, eyes locked on mine. There was silence, thick, uncomfortable. "I found a therapist," she said after a moment. "I've been going every week since the divorce. She told me something I didn't want to hear. Forgiveness isn't about the other person. It's about releasing yourself from the prison they put you in." I felt something crack in my chest. "I don't forgive you," she said. "Not yet. Maybe not ever, but I'm letting go. Because I refuse to carry this anger for the rest of my life." I nodded, tears stinging my eyes. "I'm sorry, Jane. Not just for the betrayal, but for all the ways I wasn't the sister you deserved." She picked up her umbrella, pausing at the door. "You were never the enemy. Hurt people just hurt people." Then she left. I didn't expect reconciliation, but that conversation changed me. I kept writing, letters I never sent, journal entries that peeled back my own layers. I went to therapy. I faced the hollow parts of me I'd always tried to fill with validation, attention, guilt. I adopted the silence Jane left behind, not as punishment, but as permission. 6 months later, I got a letter. It was from Jane. "I still feel the cracks," it said, "but I've learned to live around them. Maybe one day we'll build something new, not what we had, but something honest." That night, I planted a tree in the backyard, not to forget the past, but to mark the growth. We all make mistakes, but healing isn't loud, it's quiet. It's choices made when no one's watching. It's showing up to the mirror and refusing to lie to yourself anymore. I lost a marriage. I nearly lost my sister. But I found something else, an unflinching kind of truth, and a commitment to never live beneath shame again. The past can't be changed, but the story we write next, that's still ours.